welcome to Jadekine Gaming. I'm Adam. Today I'm going to do a flip through and review of the Player's Companion, which was released with the Elemental Evil storyline by Wizards, which they partnered with Sasquatch Game Studio for this, as well as the Princes of Apocalypse. This has some of the material, the Genasi race, and all of the spells in here are in the Princes of Apocalypse. This has, in addition to that, 2 other races and a subrace for the Gnome. And it's a free PDF that you can get on the One Bookshelf websites, such as Drive-Thru RPG or RPG Now. And I'll have the link to one of those below. And at that same place, you can buy a printed version in either standard or premium. I got the premium, better paper and print quality, I believe, is the difference. And it's still pretty cheap because it's like 24, 25 pages for the book. And it's just sort of a simple companion, few extra races, handful of extra spells to add to your game. And if we want to check it out, it has, of course, this art. It's branded as Elemental Evil, Player's Companion, and it's a D&D book. If you look at the covers, it has that look of their books, except like on the back where there's normally description, there's nothing because it was first a PDF and people were just asking, we want a print edition, and I was so glad they did. But we get our little, here's the table of contents right here. And we get 3 races and a sub-race for the Gnome. The first race is the Aarakocra, which are bird people. And essentially, they have some interesting things. They do have talons, so they have a unarmed attack that deals slashing damage, and they have flight. Their big thing is flight. They're birds, they get to fly, and so that's just a fun thing there. We have the Deep Gnomes, or the Svirfneblin, whatever, I've never been able to pronounce it properly, but we get Deep Gnomes, which is a sub-race for gnomes, and they actually just present it as a full race here. They get whatever, they're blend in with their stone camouflage and better dark vision. And they get an optional feat. This is a precedent to have a feat that has a prerequisite, being a race. We've not had a racial feat before, but that adds their magic that the Deep Gnomes are supposed to have. The Genasi, which are offspring between humans and genies. We have one for each of the types of genie, each of the elements, and we get, by default they have their basic stuff, kind of humanish, with increased to con, and then we have the 4 different types. Air is actually currently what my player Bob is playing in the game that I'm currently filming, and the Mission of Good game that I have here as a section of Jadekine Gaming's videos. But there's also the other ones they each have sort of get to mimic a spell or spells using con as their spell casting, and they have other things like the air does not need to breathe as long as it isn't incapacitated. And the water has a few things. It has resistance to acid. It can breathe either air or water, and it has a swim speed, as well as its ability score increase and its spell, which it gets a cantrip instead of like a full spell. But then at 3rd level, it also gets a bit of a better spell. And then we have Goliaths, which in that same campaign where Bob is the air Genasi, we've met some of those. I made them part of the story for a brief point. They're little giants, and they have some interesting things. They're mountain-born. Their ability to withstand cold climates and high elevations, high altitude, is just fun flavor. but they also get to carry more stuff as if they're a bigger size, and they get to sort of once per long rest shrug off some damage, which was interesting as far as making a big, tough kind of character. And then we get to Chapter 2, the other part of what the book has, and that's spells. And we get, our list. Druids, sorcerers, and wizards get the most spells. Otherwise, other than clerics and paladins, there's at least a couple for everyone else. Clerics and paladins get no new ones. But otherwise, they're generally element-themed spells. And of the new spells here, I've picked out some of them that I want to just sort of go over, because they have all sorts of different elemental-themed spells. But there's some that I certainly like quite a bit. Some of my favorites, I guess. I just wanted to go over. And amongst those are various cantrips. For example, we have Create Bonfire, which is a new damage-dealing cantrip, where essentially you pick a spot and you say, there's a fire there for up to a minute if I concentrate, and it damages whoever is there. Just another new option. Essentially this one being one that you concentrate on. It's a cantrip that you can leave in one spot to make, hazardous area. Another cantrip is Control Flames, which is essentially like the prestidigitation for fire. We already have one for each of the, the clerics, the druids, the arcane. They each have theirs, the thaumaturgy, etc. Well, now we have one for fire, which does things like instantly move, increase the fire by 5 feet, or extinguish it, or make it where it produces more or less light, or create shapes in the flames. So just interesting things you can do to fire. Then we get Frostbite. And Frostbite is another one of the damaging ones. Only this time, instead of fire, it's cold. There's also one for thunder. And on the Frostbite, it makes it where they have disadvantage on a weapon attack, which I believe we have a different damage type that does that, but it's, again, expanding options. If we get Gust up here, it's another cantrip that is like a prestidigitation for wind. Moving things, or even people a little bit, which is kind of a bit more than that, but just that sort of, that group of options, sensory effects, etc., rustling, leaves, that kind of thing. Just that basic cantrip for air. There's also one for earth and for water in here. Of course, do have art within here. There it is. The next one was the Primordial Ward, which this jumps all the way up to a 6th level spell. And it gives you resistance to acid, cold, fire, lightning, and thunder damage for concentration up to a minute. And as a reaction, you can make yourself immune to one of those damage types and end it. So pretty much just sort of a nice protective option. I missed one of the ones on my list, or rather a group. They also have the Investiture spells. Investiture of Flame, Ice, Stone, and Wind. And these are 6th level spells that give you a group of stuff that you can do. I'll just go over the fire one. It's flames race across your body, shedding bright light in a 30-foot radius and dim light for an additional 30 feet for the spell's duration. Concentration up to 10 minutes. Until the end of the duration, the flames don't harm you, and until the end of the duration, you gain the following benefits. You are immune to fire damage. You have resistance to cold damage. Any creature that moves within 5 feet of you for the first time or ends its turn there takes 1d10 fire damage. Also, you can send a 15-foot line of flame as an action, so you just have like now a natural fire attack while this spell is on. So you're concentrating on it, and you can just shoot out flame. And they have one for ice, stone, and wind, as I said. And it's just a very cool, sort of powerful. I mean, it's 6th level, but it's, you know, a good show of power. In the middle there, we have a 2nd level spell that is Skywrite, which is your ability to concentrate for up to 1 hour to keep up to 10 words written up in the sky as if from clouds. Which is a great way to send a message a very long distance while everyone can see it. But that was just another creative one, just showing the creativity. Again, more art, and the as we have in the back of all of them, we have this. And I will point out, in the printed version, as it goes up to page 24, we then end up with a couple of sort of just blank pages before the end of the book, because it seems that they didn't quite meet the minimum requirement for a saddle-stitched book, and so we get a few blank pages. But as I said, it's a free PDF for the information, and it's not that expensive if you want to have them send you a lovely printed copy. I'm quite happy to have it to join my others, and actually I have, I printed, you know, before buying it, I printed out a version just to have, and then I bought it anyways. But yeah, so if you haven't checked it out already, it's a great small addition to just give you a bit more variety. If you're a player, just certainly ask your game master. If you are a game master, you know, whether you just say, hey, here's some new options, or whether you end up making it a decent part of your world. Like I made the Goliaths. You know, I made it where the players went through Goliath territory, so I really took that race, which we've of course seen before, and I saw it in 3rd edition. I don't know if it was before that. You know, but it's just to see them, what their current rendition, current ideas for them are, just gave me some thoughts, and I threw them in there. I think it ended up being, when having to do with giants being evil, it gave me a nice little opportunity to have these little giants, as they're medium-sized creatures, but they're kind of giants in what kind of species they are. But, you know, to be nice people that were helpful. So, that was cool. But, you know, same with if you need bird people. You know, even if you don't necessarily use it for your players, or you can open up, say, you can let some of them exist and not others. Anyways, gives you options. Player's Companion from Elemental Evil. I'll put out links. Check it out, and have a great day.